Okay, let's do this. Let's go. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to my stream. I'm Pierre, your host. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend. I know that I did. Thanks very much for asking. So it is pretty cold right here in Nice, France. I think it's winter's last stand. And frankly, I can't wait for it to go. So what is going on here? My computer is not working as it should. And so I'm going to end the stream and start off again. What is going on here? There we go. Well, that was pretty bizarre. Anyways, so welcome back to my stream. I hope the whole week isn't going to be like this Monday, starting off totally wacko. But anyways, so as I was saying, it is awfully cold. Winter's last stand. Can't wait for it to get over. So what we're going to do, we're going to tackle our painting right away. Let's get to work because I have to move. I have to warm up. So the first thing we're going to do is like we always do. I'm going to go over to the computer right here, and we're going to check out what we did on Friday, and then we'll take it from there. So let's do that. So what did we do last Friday? Well, we were working on our plants. We were doing the outline to our leaves. So we started on the leaves that we had done the following day. And then after that, we started these weird little flowers that are kind of beyond the background. They look like little hearts. And that is basically where we are at today. So we are going to go over here, and I am going to continue on these guys right now. I'm going to put some sort of a shading, a light gray shading on these flowers, give that time to dry, and then I'm going to tackle the background and finish that off. And then hopefully these flowers will be dry, and I'll be able to put the details on these little flowers, and eventually we're going to add a little bit of greenery on the bottom. So that is the plan for today, and if not only today, well, today and tomorrow. So I am going to start off and just making a little bit of light gray to put on these flowers, as I just mentioned, and give it time to dry. And then I will tackle the background of the yellow. It's going to go by very quickly. So I'm going to get my faithful little knife right here, get a little palette. Let's say this one. Why not? Let's see if I can take off the dried paint there and get ourselves like a clean. There we go. And I'll just come over to camera number 1 here and show you this. Here you can see acrylic paints that I use, a green with white. And in fact, once it's dry, since this is a non-porous surface, the paint doesn't stick, and you can just peel it off because the pigments are held by this polymer emulsion, which is nothing more than some sort of a plastic. And it's nothing more than that, just plastic. So it's very, here we go again, very practical to do. And I can just recycle my little palettes. Only in the wintertime when it's really, really cold, it's very difficult to do. But anyways, so I'm going to bring this up. I'm actually even going to bring the camera closer and put it in its position for me to paint. There we go. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on these flowers. Just like that. And come back over here where I am going to prepare my gray paint. So not very complicated, a little bit of white. And, whoops, do not want to get my white paint in my grays. in my black paint. I'm going to wipe that off. Just get a little bit of black paint right here. Put that on the side. Clean off my knife. Very good. Okay, got that done. Now, a little brush to mix these colors together. Okay. I'm going to take a little wider brush than I need, just so it goes a little quicker. And why not? I'm going to do this right here on camera number 1. Let me pull it back a little bit. And we're just going to just make some light gray, just like that. I mean, nobody's going to ever see this, especially when I put the details on these flowers. But I guess the only person who will see it is me. And that is, I guess, enough for the reason to do that. So I'm going to add more water so it's very liquid and so it will dry quickly. So, very good. Once again, I'll pull the camera back, come back to our little flowers. I'm going to start on the left-hand side and work myself down this way. So I'll just zoom in a little bit right up here and come back to camera number 2 right here and get more water, as I said, to make this very liquid, just because I want it to dry. And it's gray on white, so I don't have to worry about opacity. This is just to do like a little bit of shading on my white flowers. Like I said, probably no one's ever going to see it except myself, but I can't help it. So let's dry this baby off. And let me get the right kind of brush that I need. So what am I going to use? I need a kind of a small one. Why not this one? This one looks pretty good. I'm going to bring over my chair. And where is my little palette of gray paint? There we go. Dry off the wet paintbrush. And let's get to work. So I'll switch back over to camera number 1. And we can tackle these little hearts, little flowers, little leaves, whatever they are. So I know this gray is going to darken as it dries. I'm just going to put, like you can see, just a little highlight. I mean, it's barely visible. Let me try to zoom in a little more. Hopefully, the lens won't start blurring. Just like that. Yeah, it's going very quickly, huh? There we go. Just a little bit of shading here and there. And theoretically, I was planning on putting like little little stripes on top of these leaves. It's going to take a while. It's going to be very discreet. And that is kind of what I had in mind. So I'm going to go with it. Again, there's going to be some vegetation on top of these leaves, so you won't see it. Let me come down here now. There we go. Just a little bit of shading. Let me see if I can even zoom in more without it getting too blurry. It is getting blurry, isn't it? This camera's a pain in the neck because when I put it in manual, it gets blurry. When I leave it on automatic, it gets blurry. When I zoom in, it doesn't do it all the time. Does it once in a while. So it's very hard for me to decide, should I go on automatic or should I do it manual? Well, half the times when I zoom in, I kind of keep my fingers crossed, hoping that it'll be okay. There we go. I'll move over a little bit like this, bring the camera back up. I hope all this dries very quickly, otherwise I'm going to be in deep trouble. Because I really don't want to wait overnight for this to dry. So there we go. Just a few more to go. Here, home, there we go. I've never painted anything like this before, so it's kind of an adventure for me. Is it going to look okay or not? I have no idea until it's all finished. So let me just look back, step back. One little one way up here that I forgot to do. There we go. And another tiny one that I forgot to do right here. Okay, so, and one right down here. So I'm going to just pull the camera back a little bit. Zoom on back. There we go. Okay, the first part is done. Now what I'd like to do is just add a little bit of, I don't know what you would call it, a little bit of beige paint, ochre yellow in these areas. Just like a little, what would I call it? Explosion, a little flower. So let's find my paint. Nope, this is not it. Here we go. And this also should go rather quickly. get the right brush right there. And I'll get a different palette. Here's one that I use for the yellow. This looks like it'll be just fine. Again, I'm not going to need that much paint. And I'm going to use a bigger brush again, just to get it to be the right texture so it flows on the canvas the way I like it to do. So I'm going to just come back to camera number 1 right over here. I'll bring a jar of water right down here below, just like that. And there's my beige paint. And I'm just going to mix the water with it. I mean, this is not rocket science, right? A 3-year-old can do this. But it's so important to get the paint to be the right texture so you have total control over it. And these are the 3 things you have to absolutely do to have control over your painting. Is to have the paint the right texture, right consistency, to have the right size paintbrush, and to be in a comfortable position to paint. If one of those 3 things are off, well, the odds are pretty good that your painting is going to turn into a struggle. And we are not here to suffer, we are here to enjoy ourselves. So, that looks, there's not that much paint there, but I'm not going to need that much. There's not much of a surface to paint, so I just want to make sure that this ochre is nice and opaque. That is the most important thing. There we go. So I'll start like with this, and if I don't have enough, well, I'll just do some more. No big deal. Okay, so let's come back up here. I'll move the camera over just a little bit more, and we are going to start with that upper left-hand corner. Like that, I'm sure I'm not going to put my hands in the paint. Very good. And just like before, find the right paintbrush, which I have right here. I assume this is going to be the one that's going to do the trick. So I am just going to step back for a second, take a look at this painting as well. Okay, so I'll get my brush ready. There we go. I have a vague feeling that I might have put too much water in this. I'm not quite sure. I'll find out in a few seconds as soon as I tackle my painting. So let's go back to camera number 1. And let's start with the first lit one. There we go. So that is all I want to do is little guys like this. And I was right. I was right. My paint is just a little bit too thin. Guess I put too much water in there, so I'm just going to add a little bit more of this paint. There we go, just a whisker. And I'm going to blend everything together. No point of me going back to the other camera to do this. It's just going to take just a few seconds. Make this nice and thick, yet liquid. There we go. That looks just right. Okay. Let me just step back again, take a look at what we're doing here. Okay, so I'll come back to, what am I doing here? Where am I? Where am I? Okay, let's come back to camera number 1. Very good. Let me zoom in a little bit more here. Right there. There we go. Just these little, just like that. These little explosions. Very good. One a little further down, maybe. Right in this area here. All right. One in here. Got to remember to move the camera with me. There we go. Right there. Right like that. There we go. Just these little guys like that. Have them populate the painting. Right like that. Got a few that we're going to put down below. Let me grab my chair for that. There we go. Very good. Okay, oops. Gonna step back for a second and take a look. Right up there. We'll add a few in here as well. There we go. Let's go down here between these two purple leaves. So I'll start off putting one right here. One right here as well. All right, very good. Got one here in this lower right-hand corner. Of course, it's not on the camera. Typical. Let me zoom in right in between these two guys where I'm going to add one more right in here. Right here. Just like that. Pull the camera back a little bit and move it back. Bring it up to right under the green plant right here. Very good. Right in there. Let me just move this camera over here, pull it back a little bit as I step back myself and see where I want to go next, right here. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to go back way up here again. I'm going to add one more right in here. just to bring a certain balance to the whole thing. Okay. I can probably put one up. So I just put one where I don't think it really needed one. So what am I going to do? Let's go back here with the camera. We'll just zoom in these leaves. And this one right here, I want to get rid of. So it's no big deal. I'm just going to take my rag, put some clean water on there, and I'm just going to wipe it off, just like that. That's how easy acrylic paints get erased. A little bit of water, and it just comes right off. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that. I see maybe one other area where I could, well, I'm not going to do a full one. I'm just going to do, well, let me step back again. Take a look. And in fact, I'm going to leave it like that for now. I'm going to leave it like that for now, and I'm going to come back in and we're going to tackle these flowers, which I would love to finish today. Oops, gonna make you seasick. Moving that camera around like that. There we go. Let me just come back here. Natty Dread will never run away. No, no, no. Natty Dread will never run away. Okay, so I'm just going to step back again and take a look. I'll bring this chair over. So I had several ideas that I want to do to this, but I have to just think things out for a few seconds, because I'm just kind of improvising right now. So trying to see what kind of color I want to use. I want to do little stripes, but I don't want them to be too overwhelming either. So I'm going to make them, add some white paint, make them very light. But that's my problem. I'm not quite sure what color to use. I want to use something in the pink, reds, magentas. The stems are already pink and magenta a little bit. So I want to kind of stay in those same colors. Okay, so let me try this color here. What is this? Primary magenta. Well, I would call it a dark magenta, but whatever. So I'm going to just put a little bit of that. And I'm kind of tempted to use this, but will it be way too dark? That's a good question. Good question. Let me get the brush. So I'm just going to mix a little bit of white paint on the side to see what it does. So let me get my knife out. Let me just get just a little dab of white paint. A dab of white paint. And mix these two colors together and see what gives, if I like the result or not. I'll just take a little bit of this dark magenta and mix it with the white paint. I guess I could do this on camera number 1. You can discover what this is going to do together. So I'm doing it right here in this corner here. There's that red magenta, which is quite beautiful, I must admit. And then I'm just going to mix it with, now I think I put way too much white there. Make this magenta a little bit lighter. I'm just wondering if that isn't going to be too overbearing. Let me just bring in a little bit more of this white in here and see what that does. So I am not sure. We are doing this is I'm not sure I really like that color. I almost prefer the dark red without the white mixed in, just using this, but I'm afraid that is going to be extremely overwhelming. What I could do is just do a leaf or two maybe and try that. So why don't I do that? Because I have no idea what I'm really doing. I'm just improvising as we're going along here. But let me zoom in under the guy's chin right there. That's probably where we're going to start. Right in there somewheres. Let me come back to rinse off this brush and get a very thin brush. Well, first of all, I gotta thin this paint out first because it's way too thick. So I'm going to thin two batches, one with the very dark red here, which is quite beautiful, I must say. I love this. Dark magenta. And I'm going to, yes, make it a lot more liquid. I'm going to have to make a lot more. I'm just doing this as a test because I have no idea what I'm going to use, what I'm going to do. Okay, so we got that one done, and now I'm going to do get a lot of this, like the same color but with white mixed in, and make that a lot more liquid as well. And see which one of the two will look better or which will please me the most. So I'll just rinse off this brush. I'll keep it in the water though, so it doesn't dry until I wash it. And I'm going to use this very thin brush here. Okay, so let's try this out. I have no idea what's going to happen. So I'm going to start with the darker magenta. So I did one side with the darker. Now I'm going to do the other side with the lighter one and see what gives. Well. Well. Neither of these two leaves pleases me at all. So, what do I do in that case? This did not come out at all the way I wanted it to. So, what does that mean? That means I have to step back and I got to think this thing out here. Christ, even the water's freezing cold. So again, I am not happy at all with the result of these leaves. The red is too overbearing to make the red contour. The outline in red looks shitty. The red in the middle looks shitty as well. So So I'm going to have to cover those back up with white. Which means what does it mean? I mean, these kind of leaves here look great when they are very large, when they're wide, when they're big. But small like this, it just doesn't look right. Doesn't look right at all. So what am I going to do? Maybe I should just leave these leaves white and gray. Because I can't imagine another color that will enhance them. What could I do? I'm going to try something. I'm not sure if this is going to, at this point, who cares, right? I'm going to try putting a little bit of gold. Just a tad of gold, and I'm going to not paint it on. I'm going to use my knife and just add it with the tip of my knife. Yes. I did think I had a thinner one. It was just hiding in the back. So let me come back here and see what that looks like. So I'm just going to try it on one of these leaves. Okay, let me just step back and take a look now. Well, as stupid as it sounds, I don't mind this at all. Because the gold is discreet. It kind of blends with the background. And yet when the light shines on it, it looks kind of nice. So I'm going to go with this. What the hell? Hopefully, I'll just lay this gold down better. So let me bring the camera over here a little bit more. Zoom back out a little bit. And I'm going to go in right there. I'm going to try to lay this down like a branch going 3 different ways if possible. Something like that. So I'm going to zoom in quite a bit so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Of course, it's going out of focus again, right? Right in here. Ah, fuck me, man. Okay, let's try that again without the shakes. Okay, I gotta wash it. My knife is, there we go, caked up. Gotta have control over this stuff. There we go. So I got this one, and I'm gonna do that one. Okay. Trying to see where my camera is at too. There we go. There we go. Just a little bit, just a little tad of gold. I'm quiet because I have to concentrate to try to give this some sort of a direction and shape. I don't just want to blob it on there. So for that, I need a minimum of concentration. There we go. Just want to get the right amount, not too much, not too little, and give it a certain direction if possible. Try to give it these three-sided stems or something like that, kind of following the Japanese tradition of if you watch a tree, or they always branch off in threes, which are representing the elements of sky, earth, and water. And in many of my own paintings, I do the same thing. So I'm trying to do the same here on a very small scale of having the three branches of gold on these leaves. And at the same time, trying to have that element of just luck as well. There we go. I was planning on adding some green at the bottom of these little leaves, but I guess I'll have to wait till tomorrow. This gold paint is so thick it'll never dry today. So well, this definitely took a turn that I wasn't expecting. Now on Friday, I did take a picture of this painting so I could think about it over the weekend, but I didn't bother. I kind of like just coming in the studio and deciding at the last minute what color I'm going to use or what pattern I'm going to do. Sometimes it works out just great. And sometimes, well, like today, it's kind of hit and miss. Kind of improvise. And that's what we're doing today. So I just about got this done. So am I missing anything? I'm just going to add a little bit right here, which will probably be covered up anyways. So let's come back to this camera right here. Clean off my knife. And our red magenta that we tried earlier, if I can find it with this camera here, because everything is a little bit backwards with the camera, so it's not that obvious. There we go. These guys I'm just going to paint over since they were a total failure. And this thin little guy, I guess I'll put him aside as well. He's clean. And I'm just going to get some white paint. I'm going to use the same brush, but why not? And let's go back over this guy here. There. Nobody will know the struggles we went through to get these stupid flowers done. There we go. Hide the evidence. Hide the evidence and never admit screwing up. Okay. So let me just step back and see really what all this means and what's it look like. Well, looks like a goddamn mess, dude. Okay. All right. Well. Okay. So I was planning on adding some vegetation like this down here anyways, but these flowers definitely did not come off the way I was hoping they would. I'm going to add that gray shadowing right now. All my paint is still available and wet right here. Let me just go back here and just add that around there, just like that. On that one, and there we go, on that one as well. Got that done. And I might as well just, on top of that, just put the gold like we did for the other flowers, even though it's not dry, but it doesn't matter since I'm just tapping the gold on top of it. Just like that. And just like that. Which anyways will probably be covered up from when I start my painting my guy here. Okay. Let's see, where are we at here? So, so. Well. Well. Okay. Okay, so sorry about all that. Just taking a few seconds to think this out. Think of what we're going to do tomorrow. I guess tomorrow I will probably work on this hourglass. Do the hourglass tomorrow. Well, excuse me. When I said it was cold in the studio, I was not kidding. So work on this hourglass tomorrow and then put the first coat of this guy and work on him tomorrow and day after tomorrow. Get this done. Tackle our space, which should go relatively quickly. And then do the border. And we could finish this painting by Friday. Okay, very good. Okay, so that wraps it up for today. So I'm just going to come back over to the computer here. Thank you once again for joining me. Oh, I noticed I didn't even put my glasses that I usually wear for work. Okay, no big deal. And so once again, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. I hope you'll be with me tomorrow. We'll start off again. Well, it'll be 3 p.m. for me. It'll be 10 a.m. for you guys because you guys in the States have already moved your clocks up. We're doing it next Sunday. So anyways, So instead of 6 hours difference, there will be 5 hours difference. So even though my schedule says 9 a.m., it will be 10 a.m. tomorrow. I'm still going to leave you with my schedule. I'm not going to change it for 4 days. So I'll leave you with my schedule, and I'll leave you by saying, ciao mes amis.